Have we ever had a war with Mexico?
Probably.
Probably?
I don't know.
No.
We should.
We should have one.
On a rainy day in March 1845, United States President James Knox Polk delivered an inaugural address intended to be heard not only in his own country, but in the capitals of Mexico. Polk's goals were influenced by his mentor, Andrew Jackson, whose philosophy of westward expansion had inspired a new generation. During his campaign, Polk had called for the annexation of Texas, but Mexico had never recognized the independence of Texas. In February of 1845, the U.S. Congress voted to annex Texas. For years, Mexico had warned the United States that to do so would be the equivalent of war. On the 8th of March, 1846, the U.S. Army crossed the Nueces River. The decision was certain to anger Mexico further. Mexico had claimed the Nueces River as its border with Texas, but Polk had adopted Texas' claim that the border was at the Rio Grande. In late March, the first of Zachary Taylor's soldiers reached the north bank of the Rio Grande. The U.S. troops rigged a flagpole and ran up the Stars and Stripes. Polk had already started to draft a war message. He hoped a declaration of war would pressure Mexico into resolving the Texas border issue and selling its northern territories. Polk's war message was cheered by expansionists in Congress and attacked by a small but vocal opposition. Some charged that Polk had overstepped the authority of his office by starting a war without congressional approval.
A new congressman from Illinois named Abraham Lincoln introduced what came to be known as the spot resolutions.
The House of Representatives desires to establish whether the particular spot of soil on which the blood of our citizens was so shed was or was not our own soil at that time.
Although Lincoln made few friends with his spot resolutions, he did embarrass the government.
Another outspoken critic of the war with Mexico was Henry David Thoreau.
Thoreau realized that he was opposed to everything Polk stood for. He hated the Mexican-American War, instinctively siding with the losing Mexican side. Thoreau's anger against his president found its impassioned expression in an essay he published in 1849, now known as Civil Disobedience. And so as to underline his opposition, Thoreau held back payment of his taxes. In July 1846, he walked into Concord, Massachusetts to get his shoes repaired and was promptly arrested and thrown into the town's jail. Thoreau saw nothing undignified about spending some time behind bars. As he wrote, "Under a government which imprisons any unjustly, the true place for a just man is a prison." Above all, Thoreau hated political passivity. Sarcastically, he wrote, "There are thousands who are, in opinion, opposed to the war, who yet, in effect, do nothing. How does it become a man to behave towards this American government today? I answer that he cannot without disgrace be associated with it."
Others opposed the war because they opposed slavery. They feared that any land taken from Mexico would add more slave territory to the Union. Congress authorized $10 million and 50,000 volunteers. It was a historic appropriation. For the first time, tens of thousands of American soldiers would be sent to fight on foreign soil. Just as the U.S. Congress issued its call for volunteers, news of Taylor's victory swept the nation. The war was the first in U.S. history to be covered by mass circulation newspapers. Many were eager to join the fight. In New York, Walt Whitman, poet and editor of the Brooklyn Eagle, fanned the flames of American patriotism with editorials bursting with passion and prejudice.
Let our arms now be carried with a spirit which shall teach the world that, while we are not forward for a quarrel, America knows how to crush as well as how to expand. What has miserable, inefficient Mexico, with her superstition, her burlesque upon freedom, her actual tyranny of the few over the many, what has she to do with the peopling of the New World, with a noble race? Be it ours to achieve that mission.
The battles were hard fought. Later, a Texas Ranger would say, "I have never called a Mexican a coward since." On February 2nd, 1848, commissioners met in the town of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Here they signed the document that would become known as the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Polk submitted it to the Senate without changes. He knew that ratification would face strong opposition from those who wanted to take all of Mexico.
A force must be poured into the country sufficiently powerful to overawe resistance. It is a glorious prospect, this annexation of all Mexico. New York Herald.
But there were others in the Senate who feared the consequences of granting citizenship to Mexicans. Among them was John C. Calhoun of South Carolina.
We have never dreamt of incorporating into our union any but the Caucasian race, the free white race. The greatest misfortunes of Spanish America are to be traced to the fatal error of placing these colored races on an equality with the white race.
Polk received what he had long desired, a Texas-Mexico border at the Rio Grande and Mexico's northern territories. Today, that land includes the states of California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and parts of Colorado and Wyoming. More than 500,000 square miles, nearly half of Mexico's former territory.
Near the end of his life, a disillusioned Ulysses Grant would write of the war with Mexico.
I regard the war as one of the most unjust ever waged by a stronger against a weaker nation.
Win your land back! As you know, this great, big, beautiful country of ours didn't used to be ours at all. We took it. But today, 3 lucky contestants get a chance to win it back. Let's meet them.
He's a volunteer firefighter, and he's here to reclaim Southern California. Bought at gunpoint from Mexico in 1848. Say hello to Jose Ramirez.
For the chance to win over 75,000 square miles of prime real estate stolen in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. What's today's secret word?
Man, I don't have a damn clue. Whatever, alabaster.
Was so close, but no cigar. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go home. Thank you.
Does anyone ever win on this show?
No, they don't.
Man, this is rigged. Get off me.
Hey, watch your language or we'll take away Cancun like that.
Hey, don't I even get a parting gift?
No, you don't.
Viva la revolución, la raza! La raza!